All right, so get ready for a deep dive into a case that's honestly as chilling as its nickname, the Twitter killer.
Yeah,
We're going to
man.
be dissecting all the sources you sent over and try to uncover really the most fascinating and important information about Takahiro Shiraishi and the horrific murders he committed in Japan.
Yeah.
This case is especially unsettling, I think, because it just shows how predators can just exploit social media to target, vulnerable people.
Yeah, it really does. It exposes like a really, really dark underbelly of the internet.
Yeah.
And this isn't just a headline. This is it's a stark reminder of the potential dangers that are lurking in seemingly, safe online spaces.
Right, exactly. So let's start, I guess, by just unpacking Shiraishi's background a little bit. What's so striking is how, like, normal he appeared.
Yeah.
It's almost like a wolf in sheep's clothing.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate on his early life and the chilling warning signs that kind of emerged later?
Yeah. So, I mean, what's fascinating here is this contrast between his seemingly ordinary early life and the darkness that he harbored. I mean, he had friends, he attended school. There's no, indication of a troubled upbringing or anything like that. So, it really challenges the stereotype of what a criminal should look like. However, there were some subtle red flags, right? So when he moved to Tokyo and he became a scout in the red light district, locals described him as creepy.
Hmm.
And for those who might not be familiar with the term, a scout's role is essentially to lure women into brothels.
Right.
So, a position that's ripe for exploitation.
A creepy scout in the red light district. I mean, that phrase alone honestly sends shivers down my spine.
Yeah.
It's like a flashing neon sign. We often overlook it until it's too late. So is there anything we can learn from these early warning signs, these like subtle hints of a darker nature?
Yeah, I mean that's the crucial question. I mean, it forces us to consider whether intervention was even possible.
Right.
Perhaps some of these red flags are just too subtle to even decipher. But this case really underscores, I think, the importance of paying attention to our instincts and not dismissing those gut feelings,
Yeah.
especially when vulnerable people are involved.
Right. It's terrifying to think that someone can just appear so normal while orchestrating these horrific acts.
Yeah.
So how did Shiraishi transition from a creepy scout to, like, the Twitter killer? How did he even find his victims?
Well, so this is where, social media becomes like a hunting ground.
Right.
Shiraishi specifically targeted individuals on Twitter who were openly expressing suicidal thoughts.
Wow.
He didn't stumble upon them, right? He actively sought them out. He was using specific keywords and hashtags to find those who were most vulnerable.
So he was actively, like, searching for people in their darkest moments and adding to their despair instead of offering, like, genuine support. That's a level of premeditation that's incredibly disturbing.
Precisely. Yeah, he inserted himself into their vulnerable space under this guise of empathy, right? So imagine the relief that his victims might have felt, thinking that someone finally understood their pain, only to have that trust weaponized against them.
Wow.
It speaks to a chillingly calculated manipulation, exploiting their vulnerability for his own twisted desires.
It makes you wonder what went through those victims' minds, thinking they had found, like, a lifeline in someone like Shiraishi. So how did this horrific scheme finally unravel? Was it a slip-up on his part, or did something else lead to his capture?
So despite his meticulous planning, Shiraishi's horrific scheme started to unravel thanks to the persistence of one individual, of a victim's brother. Driven by the agonizing disappearance of his sister, he just refused to let her become just another statistic. He teamed up with a friend known as Yumi, and together they took matters into their own hands.
So we're not just talking about law enforcement here. We're talking about the unwavering determination of everyday people demanding answers. It's really incredible. It just speaks volumes about the power of individual action and the impact it can have, even in the face of, like, overwhelming darkness.
Absolutely. Their courage and their resourcefulness played a pivotal role. Yumi, in a stroke of brilliance, cleverly used a fake Twitter profile and a fabricated appointment to lure Shiraishi out,
Wow.
setting the stage for this confrontation with the police.
Talk about thinking on your feet and using technology to your advantage. That must take an incredible bravery and quick thinking, especially considering the potential danger involved. So what happened when the police finally confronted Shiraishi?
The scene that greeted them was nothing short of a nightmare. Inside Shiraishi's apartment, they uncovered the gruesome truth. 9 dismembered bodies, a testament to the horrifying extent of his crimes.
9 bodies. It's hard to even comprehend the level of depravity involved. How did he manage to conceal such horrific acts within a seemingly, ordinary apartment building? The details of the discovery are just unimaginable.
The apartment itself became like a chilling tableau of his crimes. Body parts were found like meticulously concealed in cooler boxes and storage containers, a gruesome attempt to erase the evidence of his brutality. It's a stark reminder that evil can lurk behind the most commonplace facades.
The image of those cooler boxes and storage containers is seared into my mind. How did neighbors not notice anything sooner? I mean, the smell alone must have been overpowering.
There were, reports of foul odors coming from the apartment, but it seems no one connected those smells with, the horrific truth hidden within. And it raises this chilling question. What factors might have contributed to Shiraishi going undetected for so long? Was it like a collective denial, a reluctance to believe such evil could exist within their midst?
It's a question that haunts me as well. Did societal norms, a reluctance to pry into other people's lives, contribute to this tragedy? Perhaps by understanding these societal blind spots, we can learn to be more vigilant, more attuned to the subtle signs of distress in our communities.
It's a crucial point. This case forces us to confront not just the darkness within individuals, but also the societal conditions that allow such darkness to fester.
Right.
And perhaps by shedding light on these societal blind spots, we can collectively create a safer and more vigilant community.
It's the glimmer of hope amidst this incredibly dark and disturbing story. So we have this gruesome discovery, the evidence stacked against him. What was Shiraishi's response when confronted with the undeniable truth of his actions? Did he attempt to deny his involvement, or was there something else entirely?
Well, instead of denial, or even remorse, really, Shiraishi just confessed to the murders. But his confession wasn't filled with, regret or a plea for forgiveness or anything like that. He chillingly stated that his life just lacked meaning. A statement that's honestly both baffling and deeply unsettling.
Lacking meaning. It's hard to, fathom how someone could use that to justify taking 9 innocent lives. It's almost as if he was, I don't know, trying to find meaning through these horrific acts, a perverse attempt to make his mark on the world,
Yeah.
Did he elaborate on what he meant by this lack of meaning? Did he offer any insight into his motivations at all?
What's truly disturbing is that his stated motive went even deeper, revealing a level of depravity that's just difficult to grasp. He claimed he exploited his victim's vulnerability for sexual gratification, wanting to fulfill his fantasies without resistance.
Yeah.
It's a level of dehumanization that's absolutely chilling,
Yeah.
reducing these individuals to mere objects for his own twisted desires.
It's a complete perversion of human connection, a profound disconnect from, empathy and compassion. To think that he saw these individuals, each with their own story, their own hopes and dreams, as nothing more than a means to an end is just sickening.
It speaks to a dangerous mindset, one that views vulnerability as an invitation for exploitation. And this case really compels us to ask, how can we cultivate a society that values empathy and recognizes the inherent worth of every individual, regardless of their struggles?
You've hit on a crucial point. It's not enough to simply condemn these acts. We need to understand the underlying factors that contribute to such a distorted worldview.
Right.
Shiraishi's case serves as a stark reminder that we can't ignore the importance of mental health, both for individuals and for society as a whole.
Absolutely. Ignoring mental health issues it's like ignoring a crack in a foundation. It may seem small at first, but left unaddressed, it can lead to devastating consequences. Perhaps by fostering a culture that encourages, open dialogue about mental health and provides resources for those who need them, we can start to chip away at the stigma and isolation that often contribute to these tragedies.
Creating a more empathetic and supportive environment is crucial. But what about practical steps? How can we prevent tragedies like this from happening again? Is there anything we can do individually and as a society to protect ourselves and others from online predators?
That's the million-dollar question. And there's no easy answer. But I think the first step is awareness, right?
Right.
We need to educate ourselves and others about the dangers of online predation and the tactics that are used by individuals like Shiraishi.
Okay.
We need to be mindful of what we share online, wary of those who seem overly eager to, offer help. And most importantly, we need to teach our children about online safety from a young age.
It's like learning a new language almost, the language of online safety.
Right.
We need to equip ourselves with the vocabulary and grammar of responsible digital citizenship.
But it's not just about, individuals being cautious.
Right.
What about the role of social media platforms themselves? I mean, can't they do more to prevent these kinds of tragedies from happening in the first place?
Social media platforms have, I think, a significant responsibility here. They need to invest in better moderation tools, algorithms that can detect and flag potentially harmful content and interactions.
Right.
They need clear and consistent policies for, suspending or banning accounts that engage in harassment or threats or exploitation. It's a delicate balance, right, between protecting free speech and ensuring user safety.
Right.
But ultimately, the well-being of users should be paramount. You mentioned algorithms that can detect harmful content. Isn't that inherently difficult given the vast amount of data and the nuances of human interaction? How can these platforms strike a balance between protecting users and respecting privacy?
It's a complex challenge, but I don't think it's an insurmountable one.
Okay.
Platforms can, I think, implement a multi-layered approach, combining, human moderators with sophisticated algorithms. They can prioritize transparency, making their moderation policies clear and accessible to users, and they can work collaboratively with experts in the fields of, psychology, sociology, law enforcement to develop more effective strategies for identifying and mitigating risks.
Right.
It sounds like a multi-pronged approach is needed, one that addresses the technical aspects of platform moderation, but also the ethical and societal implications. This case has really highlighted the complex interplay between individual responsibility, societal change, and platform accountability. It's not about placing blame, but rather recognizing that we all have a role to play in creating a safer and more humane digital landscape.
Precisely. It's about fostering a collective awareness of the potential dangers and working together to create a culture of online safety.
Right.
This means educating ourselves, having, open conversations, and holding both individuals and platforms accountable for their actions.
It's a call to action for all of us, really. Qureshi's trial and sentencing marked the end of his reign of terror, but the conversation about online safety needs to continue. What was the final outcome of his trial, and what does it tell us about the Japanese legal system's approach to such horrific crimes?
So in 2020, Qureshi pled guilty to the murders and was subsequently sentenced to death. What's particularly striking is that he chose not to appeal the sentence, a decision that continues to baffle, those who have studied the case. Was it an acceptance of his guilt, a desire for punishment, or perhaps a final act of control in a life marked by manipulation and domination?
Choosing not to appeal. It's almost like a final act of defiance.
Yeah.
A refusal to engage with the consequences of his actions. It adds another layer of complexity to an already profoundly disturbing case.
It certainly does, and it underscores the importance of, not reducing these individuals to simple monsters.
Right.
While we must hold them accountable for their actions, we also need to try to understand the complex psychological and societal factors that contribute to such horrific crimes. Only by delving into these complexities can we truly begin to address the root causes and work towards prevention.
You're absolutely right. It's about seeking understanding, not to condone or excuse these actions, but to learn from them and prevent future tragedies.
Yeah, it's a sobering thought, The digital world, while offering these incredible opportunities for connection, can also be a double-edged sword. It really does, amplify both the best and worst aspects of humanity. What really strikes me is the sheer calculated nature of Qureshi's actions. It wasn't a crime of passion. This was like a meticulously planned operation leveraging social media to prey on the most vulnerable. What are your thoughts on this calculated aspect of his crimes? What does it tell us about the evolving nature of criminal behavior in the digital age?
Well, I think what's so chilling here is that, Qureshi really represents a new breed of criminal, one who understands the power of, these digital platforms and just uses them to their advantage. He weaponized empathy. He exploited the very human need for connection and support. And this case really forces us to confront this uncomfortable reality that the digital world, it can provide anonymity and a sense of detachment. It makes it, I think, easier for some individuals to disengage from the consequences of their actions.
Yeah, it's like a virtual mask.
Yeah.
Allowing them to hide their true intentions while preying on those seeking solace in this vast expanse of the internet. It's a terrifying thought, but a necessary one to confront. We can't simply ignore these dark corners of the digital world. We need to shine a light on them, understand the motivations and tactics of these predators, and really just develop strategies to combat their insidious influence.
Absolutely. Awareness is our first line of defense. We need to, educate ourselves and others about the red flags of online predation. This includes being wary of individuals who, seem overly eager to offer help or who try to like isolate you from your support networks. It's also crucial to remember that, not everyone online is who they claim to be, and that even like seemingly harmless interactions can mask some pretty sinister intentions.
Right. It's like navigating a digital minefield almost. We need to be cautious, aware of our surroundings, and just equipped with the tools and knowledge to identify potential threats. But it's not just about individual vigilance. What about law enforcement? I mean, how can they adapt to this evolving landscape of digital crime and ensure that justice is served, even in the face of such technological complexity?
Well, law enforcement agencies are facing an uphill battle, that's for sure. They need to develop these like specialized units,
Yeah.
dedicated to investigating cybercrimes, equip their officers with the necessary training and resources to navigate the complexities of digital evidence, and work collaboratively with tech companies to gain access to the data that's needed to identify and prosecute these criminals. It's a constant game of catch up, but one that's absolutely essential in our increasingly digital world.
It's a reminder that our legal systems and law enforcement agencies need to evolve alongside the technological advancements that are shaping our society. This case, with its chilling blend of social media manipulation and this calculated brutality, has truly opened our eyes to the dark side of the digital age. It's a sobering reminder of the challenges that we face, but also an opportunity to learn, to adapt, and to work together to create a safer and more just digital landscape. Any final thoughts for our listeners as we wrap up this deep dive into the Twitter killer case?
Well, the internet is a powerful tool, one that can connect us, educate us, and empower us, but it also has a dark side, one that we just can't afford to ignore. By understanding the tactics of online predators, by fostering a culture of, awareness and vigilance, and by demanding accountability from both individuals and platforms, we can collectively work towards a digital future where empathy, compassion, and human dignity prevail.
That's a powerful message of hope and resilience in the face of such darkness. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into a truly disturbing and thought-provoking case. See you next time on Crime and Consequence.